Hey, assalamualaikum. Hey. अस्सलामुअलैकुम कैसे हैं आप दुआ से शुरू कर सकते हैं दुआ के साथ
दुआ तो आखिर में करेंगे
नहीं शुरू में
नहीं शुरू में तो कुरान पढ़वा लेते वो बच्चे से कुरान पढ़वा लो
अच्छा
हाँ
तो दुआ बाद में कर लेंगे ओके ठीक है
तो वो चला गया एक बच्चा भी आया था
आपकी पूरी आर्मी यहाँ पे होती है
हाँ
यूसुफ
हाँ यूसुफ से बोलो ये नहीं वो अभी इंडिया से आया था सुना ठीक है
किसकी
वो एजाज का भांजा यूसुफ 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 कम Can you recite some surah, Quran? We start from inshallah from the Quran program. Just go and recite some surah. What do you want to recite? What do you want to recite? Yeah.
Is everything? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Go recite it.
Okay. I'm gonna put the mic on you, and you'll be the first. Let me just clip it on you.
हाँ उसके बाद फिर दुआ में आखिर भी कर लेंगे
ठीक है
अब्बा की टोपी ले लो
Do you want a topi?
What is that?
हाँ सही
What is that?
I need to recite for
In front of everyone?
yeah
This is gonna be fun.
सामने जाकर
You
रिसेट
suck.
करना चाहिए
You suck.
चल बेटे go to the
Come on, Yusuf.
I thought you became real president
and then
And on the mic also, we have it on the mic booth. Yeah. Yusuf, you can hold this mic also so that everyone else can hear. I'll just get Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Brothers, could you sit down in the back? Jazakallah khair. Picture? Oh, I'm sorry.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله فيغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء والله على كل شيء قدير آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين صدق الله العظيم
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. Just wanted to say, first of all, Jazakallah khair for everybody coming. MashaAllah. We will try to keep it short and sweet. And we have good news after good news. So, inshallah, this is going to be a great short presentation. And the main reason why we're holding this meeting is we want to keep the community just engaged. We want everyone to know what's happening. I know there's stuff that starts happening really quickly, and then community members might be like, what is happening? What's going on? What's the status? What's the progress? We get a lot of questions, and stuff is moving very quickly. So we want to take time every few weeks or so and update everybody where we're at, what we're looking forward to, and what challenges, if any, we're facing. Just so this is a community project. We're all in this together, and we want to make sure that everybody knows what's happening. So this is our short presentation. Our short presentation. And if we can go to the first slide, please. So first of all, we just want to start off with a timeline. What's happened, where we are, and what's going forward. So for the people who don't know, on June 2nd, we had our community vote. Our bylaws are very strict that we couldn't do this project without the community having an overwhelmingly majority approval of the project. And the bylaws make it a very high bar, and we reached that bar, alhamdulillah. So it showed the community is strongly in favor. I believe there was less than 2% that were against the project. 98% or more of the community was in favor of this project. So that was our community vote on June 2nd. After that, we established project committees. This is a huge project. It's a $10.5 million building that we're purchasing, and it's office space. And we have to somehow convert it into a masjid and a school. And we have to do it following the code and making sure that we also not only abide by the laws of FONSAM, but also make it something that is being built and planned for the next 20 years. We don't want to address the problems of today. We want to make sure that whatever we do, it has a vision and it has a design and it has a plan. And so we have established committees, all volunteer, alhamdulillah, from our own community. MashaAllah, there's so much talent amongst us. And we established these committees, and you're going to hear more about them later tonight. But these committees were established so that we can make sure that we're going forward and doing all our due diligence, doing the work, making sure we really have the best knowledge and information before we make any decisions. As you know, June 25th, alhamdulillah, that was the day that we signed the contract. After months and months and even years of dealing with the seller, negotiating, people asking when. On June 25th, alhamdulillah, we signed the contract. We entered escrow. It was a 150-day escrow period. So that means from June 25th, our contract closes on November 22nd. And we're in it right now, and we started off 150 days. We have less than 100 days now left, and this is the most critical period. This is our due diligence period where we have to understand everything about the building, anything that's broken, anything that's wrong with it, anything that needs repairing. So we're having inspections and all kinds of analysis of the building to see if it works. We have been looking at it from different angles. We've been looking at it from a zoning perspective. We were looking at it from a financial perspective. What is the cost? What is the overhead? What is the carrying cost of such a big property? We've been analyzing all these different things, and we'll go into more detail about that. But this is the due diligence period, and it ends November 22nd. That's when we have to give them the key, or give them the payment, our down payment, and get the keys, inshallah. That's when the building becomes ours, November 22nd. And you'll see there's a star in between there, the Growing MCF banquet. That's on November 1st. This is something MCF has never done before. We're going to have a huge banquet, inshallah, for the community and the entire Sacramento region and even beyond. We're going to invite some big speakers, and we're going to have a huge fundraising push. This banquet is going to be 3 weeks before we have to make that payment or we lose the building. So inshallah, we are planning for that. We're going to be sharing more information with the community as we get it. But please make sure you attend November 1st. It's the Growing MCF banquet. November 22nd, I said, that is when we close escrow. That is when we, inshallah, will have the building officially as ours. And then you'll see the next arrow is the tenant improvement construction. That is when we can officially go in, start changing the building around and make it suitable for our needs, for FEA, for the school, and also for MCF, for the masjid And for those who are maybe new to the project, this is a joint project. This is as much as FEA as it is us. We both have a vision for this building and what we want to make it. So inshallah, that's the timeline. And next slide, please. Yeah, this is the due diligence period that I was talking about. These are some of the things that we've been doing during the due diligence period. The ones that have a check mark on them have already been done. These are the things we've already looked at. We've already received this data either from the sellers, or we've gone and independently consulted other parties or inspection companies. And this is what has already happened in the last 60 days or so, or 55 days that we have had access to the building. This is I know it's one slide and it's only a few check marks, but this is a very intensive and comprehensive and long process. And we are doing as much due diligence as we can to make sure that, we're using the community's money. We want to make sure we make the right decisions. So we want to be very careful about it. Some of the things that have don't have check boxes with them, those are things that we are still working on. These are all pending items. They haven't been completed, but inshallah, when we have our next update, hopefully we can update you on the items that have been completed. And we can also answer any questions that you have about this at the end. But these are all the items that we are looking into. And there's a few other items that they're not pending yet, but they're in the future to-do list. They haven't made it on this list yet. But this is the process that we're going through. I want to hand it over to Brother Zaid next to explain the structure and the committees and how they work. This is yours. For streamers. For people.
Oh. You got this. Yeah, I'm just going to put this on first. All right.
Okay, so many of you are professionals. You work in professional organizations and you are familiar with project management and running large projects. This is a large project, so we need to have proper structures in place. Those of you that have, alhamdulillah, donated Qard Hasna, you saw that one of the comments we got that the brother was expecting to get a napkin back from us with the amount on it, and was very pleased that we had a professional form docu-signed with everything on there. So we want to run this like it's a professional organization. We've taken some really good advice, met with some great people in the community, some very successful people in Sacramento. We had a really nice meeting after Jummah, and one of the brothers, he made a comment that I think is very true. He said that when he started his business, he made a point of having a very nice, neat, well-structured, tidy, attractive office, because when people come to visit him, it attracts more business. They see this is a professional organization, they take things seriously, and this is someone I want to work with. How often we go to our ethnic businesses and they they look kind of dirty or they don't look as professional. So we want to have a professional standard for our masjid. We want it to be as clean, if not cleaner, than our own homes. We want it to provide the facilities that the youth can get outside, the same type of facilities in our masjid. So to do that, you have to have a proper structure. You have to start in the right way. So we have a management review committee, project management office that Rehan and Amjad are going to be leading. And we've broken it down into three main committees. Architecture, engineering, construction. Brother Ashraf, Brother Dia are leading that. They have several people outside of the board that are also on that committee. We have the marketing and communication, which is Faris, Sister Cynthia, Sister Huma, and a few others on that committee. The one where we have a lot of people coming to us and saying, how can we help? How can we get involved? The number one area where we need your help is the finance and fundraising. Brother Ashraf will talk more about what we learned from visiting other communities about fundraising and financing the masjid, good news, inshallah. But we need to just continue taking it to the next level for our community. We can't just rely on the way we raised money before. We're going to have bigger community, bigger budget, bigger operating costs. So with that in mind, we have to make sure that we do everything we can to put in structures that can support that. So today, Brother Hafiz and team went to, where was it, V Street? We went to another masjid recently as well. Yeah, so we've been going around and, we have the banquet plan. So really, this is an area, if you want to volunteer, if you want to help. A lot of people say they want to get involved. So when you see the messages on WhatsApp, please raise your hand, call anyone here, any of the board members that you know, Brother Faisal, Abdul Rahman, Sisters Committee. Please make your voices heard so that we can get your help, because this is really the area that makes or breaks a project, inshallah. So anything, Ashraf, you want to add to the structure? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Jazakallah khair, Rehan. Zaid, quick as Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair, Zaid. As Zaid bhai mentioned, we really need help, a lot of help in finance and fundraising. Just a quick question, quiz question. What is the purchase price of the property? Anybody can tell? 10. What is the minimum we have to pay? That's a good attitude. I like that. So to just even get into the minimum we have to pay is half of it. It's 5.25 million. Okay. So, but I like the Umar Bhai's attitude that's what we are going to. We are targeting 10.5 million as of now. So just to give a quick update to the table which you see here, we gave $100,000 as the initial escrow starting account. In the capital account, we almost have $3.6 million. And for the Qarde Hasna, we have almost $1.2 million in the account. So total accounting 4.8 million almost. So we are almost 500 short to the minimum, which is 5.25. So, but overall pending pledges, we kindly request you to fulfill your pledges, both the donations as well as the Qarde Hasna. So if everybody fulfills their pledges, the remaining amount will be around 4.5. This number is fluctuating, if you see, because there are some ups and downs. Some people commit and some people drop. So, but things, alhamdulillah, it's around 4.5 million as of now. So just to update, for every $100 you give either as a donation or a Qarde Hasna, we'll be saving almost $15 in the term of 2 years for the payment. So don't think any amount is a small amount. Okay, it's even $100. We will save $15 in future, inshallah. So encourage your friends, encourage your relatives both for donations as well as the Qarde Hasna. But this is the status we have. Alhamdulillah, if everybody pays, we'll be around 4.5 million short. So as Zaid mentioned, today we were at Downtown Mosque. Alhamdulillah, we got some donations. Our job is to go there and try our best, and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us, we will get the money. So inshallah, we have other mosques in planning. So if we have sent some messages, many people are helping us to contact the board members and others. So if you are welcome to come and join the finance committee and help us. So, and we are also taking care of the promissory notes, Qarde Hasna, and all the dealings. So this is the finance committee. Any questions on the finance, please let me know, or next slide. Jazakallah khair. Faris.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So myself and alongside Sister Cynthia, we're leading the Marketing and Communication Committee. And in that committee, we have Brother Jamal, Sister Rubina, and Sister Huma as well. Marketing communications sounds what it is, right? We are wanting to make sure that we are communicating to the community and to the general Sacramento community, and pretty much the way I like to put it, the whole world. So we get to tell them and let them know what MCF is. So the ads that you guys might see on the masjid, TVs, that's something that the marketing committee takes care of. So first thing, and then the little brochures, we have a consultant that we work with who helps us make these, print these, and really inform the community as much as we possibly can. Transparency, right? That's what our organization is founded upon, and that's always something that we want to establish here at the masjid. Another thing that we are doing is we are looking on planning that growing MCF banquet, inshallah. We have some keynote speakers that will be released soon, and inshallah we'll have more information towards the end of the month. But you will start to see flyers out on saving the date for that event. So we ask all brothers and sisters here, when you get that flyer, save the date and spread the message. We can only do so much on our end. The biggest thing that, you know, people can do, and people are asking, how can I contribute? How can I help? How can I help? Spread the message. And the second, when you're spreading the message, I never recommend that you just send it in a WhatsApp group chat with like 100 family members. Literally send it one by one by one. A personal message will always do better than one sent in a group chat. So whenever you're reaching out to people, I also recommend that you reach out on a personal basis. Community engagements and events to promote MCF and the FEA expansion project. You'll see in the future events that are specifically catered or things that happen for that specific purpose. And more information on this will be coming forth in the future, so hold on tight to that. Promotional video and photography. So you guys have probably seen many of our faces pop up on your Instagram as you're going through it, and or your Facebook, and you're like, man, what's this guy doing here? As you know, that we are running ads on our campaigns. So on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, which is Google, we run ad campaigns. And alhamdulillah, this ad campaigns, we've been tracking them in the back end. We see people from Toronto donating. We see people from Texas donating, from Florida donating. So alhamdulillah, this puts us out on the map. A few weeks ago, we got an email from some university asking us about our project. So alhamdulillah, this really does push out our message. And Columbia University, that's all. It wasn't just any university. It really does push out our message to the brighter population, and alhamdulillah, it does bring in a good amount of revenue. We wouldn't be running this on a negative ROI. Alhamdulillah, we have gotten positive ROIs based off our ad campaigns. Flyer newsletter, alhamdulillah, you guys just saw the first newsletter that was released this previous weekend. So you guys check out the newsletter. That will have the most up-to-date updates, I guess, on the MCF 2.0 project that you could get. And you can always feel free to ask any board member or any person working on this team, hey, what's the greatest news? We're more than happy to share what's happening behind the scenes. This is our project as much as it is yours. So I never want it to be like, oh man, that's what they're doing. No, alhamdulillah, there's a full community effort into what we are doing. And last thing is our branded merchandise. Alhamdulillah, we are getting the community some t-shirts and some caps and some hats, whatever it is, that you can wear and you can support this project. These details for the shirts will be coming out soon, and the hats will be coming out soon, and you can cop yourself one. And when you buy it, you're not only getting it for yourself, you're also donating for the project. So there is a revenue that's made for this. And wear it to an outing, wear it to wherever you feel. Wearing that shirt will help promote the project, and alhamdulillah, it's something that we as a community can very much have that impact. It's never about what you know, it's about who you know. So go reach out to your friends and let them know about the project, because they'll know somebody eventually down the line that will give us some big bucks, is the best way I like to put it. Jazakallah khair, and then I'll pass it on to Ashraf.
I just put it there. Yeah, that's cool. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So inshallah, we'll give you a quick update on our architectural construction engineering committee. Alhamdulillah, as Brother Zaid was showing the structure, we try to keep these committees are decent size. Ideally we're trying to have 3 to 5, so this way it's lean enough, but yet alhamdulillah has enough diverse skill set. So for the most part, the committees end up being 5, exception with the finance and fundraising, mashallah, is much more, obviously, because of the great need there. So Brother Diya, mashallah, alhamdulillah, wealth of knowledge and experience with construction background.
along with, mashallah, great skill set and talent in the community. Brother Aqil, alhamdulillah, Sister Yumna, and Brother Ayman Mahmoud, mashallah. So alhamdulillah, we started, it's our 7th week. Some of the activities that we've been working on, alhamdulillah, we started kind of what we call our programming phase. So alhamdulillah, even before we started, I've been talking with people who are even either worked on large projects or people that have been doing that for a living, along with some of our personal kind of life experience from our day job. And the biggest advice always that we get from the beginning was, if you want to make sure the project goes successfully, do not skip your programming phase. Even in the largest corporations in the world, when they really bypass that phase of programming, that's when many projects go sideways. So alhamdulillah, we're really trying to be very diligent and focus on programming phase, which is really, in a simple terms, identifying what you really need and try to forecast what that building will look like for the generations that will be serving. We don't buy a building every day. As Rehan was saying, this is 20, 30 years. Think about it. We need to design a space for a generation that has not been born yet, or for a generation that is probably could be running around us, and many of us might be thinking, oh, some annoying sounds here and there. That is a generation who will be the board of that masjid, and will be, inshallah, taking our deen and ummah for the next level. So it's really a nerve-wracking kind of a task, but alhamdulillah, with your dua and alhamdulillah, with the skill set we have in the community, inshallah, Allah will guide us to the right path. So we're really focusing on that programming phase, which includes, one is really establishing our design principle. What do we really want once, inshallah, we get an architect? What do we want from a design perspective, from an architectural? What does the building look like? So we're spending a lot of time to really set some of these basics as a beginning, but one of the most important areas will be really capturing the feedback from the community. So we're working on a survey that would go out, inshallah, to the community, as well as some interviews with targeted groups, interviews with our imams, or how they see the needs in the masjid. When they are on the members, they see things that we might not be seeing. How is the interaction? People coming from where and going where? Our muhsin and our kids with a special need. What are the needs? Our sisters, what's their need in the community? Our youth. So we'll do, inshallah, targeted interviews, as well as, inshallah, on the school side. But more importantly, also we'll send a questionnaire, and that's what we're working on, inshallah, to make sure we gather everyone's input. So everyone tell us what's on their mind and what would they like to see. And obviously it will be a priority kind of list, and that's when we want to gauge from the community, inshallah. So that's what we are, part of what we're working on, and inshallah will be coming out soon. We are working as well on what we call RFP, request for proposal, to select an architect firm. So alhamdulillah, we really will share with you a little bit about what we learned from the Texas trip, which was lots of great insights. But we wanted to make sure we really are choosing the right person who can help us along this journey. As you said, it's a really large project. It's going to be for many years to come, so we want to make sure we are doing our due diligence and we have the right person that helps us, inshallah, design the right space. Then identifying key activities for a preliminary schedule. So obviously, right, kind of project, your scope, schedule, budget. So from a schedule perspective, what I mentioned before is really related to scope. This one is really more of the schedule. How does it look like? And not necessarily the construction schedule, but how soon can we get in, or what's the activities we need to do in the programming to get into the state where we can get into the building, and how soon, and all of that. So that's what we're working on, because we know you are as anxious as we are, alhamdulillah, but until we go through the right process, we will just be not doing a service to the community and to ourselves. And finally, really trying to focus also on visiting other Islamic centers, because the best thing is, why do we need to reinvent the wheel, right? Learn from others who have done the mistakes, learn from others who are already have gone through that. We have done some Zoom interviews with some of, mashallah, the community connected us with other masajid that really give us a great insight. as well as the text strip that we'll share with you here, some of the insight that we learned from there because it was very, very insightful. So this is some of the activities that we're working on. Please know that if you have any questions, if you have any inputs, feel free to talk with anyone on this committee, right? So you have the 5 people, that's the beauty of having a committee. You have 5 people that you see them all at the masjid all the time. On the sister side, on the brother side, you have any ideas, you have any questions, share with them, they will bring it to the meeting. That's the intent. We meet on a weekly basis, and we bug each other on phone calls almost on a daily basis. I see Brother Diot laughing right there. So alhamdulillah, you need anything, talk to any of us 5 here that's working on the architecture and construction committee, and we'll be more than happy to take that input to the rest of the team, inshallah. So we'll move on to the next one, which is really key takeaways from our Texas trip. So what we did really, we said, okay, mashallah, Texas has many masajids that mashallah had gone through a similar journey. So alhamdulillah, mashallah, Brother Dia was able to connect us with Sheikh Abdul Rauf al-Khawalda, which have been here to the masjid before, and I think he did the fundraising for MCF 1.0, and it was very intense. It was 2.5 days, but on average it was only about 3 to 4 hours sleep. But alhamdulillah, we went to about 10 masajid and Islamic institutions in 2.5 days, or less than 2.5 days. I know there is a lot of pictures, but but we'll walk you through it, why I have these pictures there. So alhamdulillah, I went to Irving Masjid Islamic Center and School, to Mass Islamic Center, to Plano Masjid, to Richardson Masjid, to Brighter Horizon Islamic School, one of the top 5 Islamic schools in the country. DeSoto Islamic Center, Valley Ranch Islamic Center, where Sheikh Yasser Burgess and Sheikh Omar Suleiman, East Plano Islamic Center, EPIC, Roots Community Space, Qalam Institute. So alhamdulillah, we talked actually with some of the board members in many of these masajid, and we'll share some of the insights. So the first 2 pictures up there is the Irving Islamic Center. It's probably one of the first or the very early kind of a large-scale masjid and Islamic school in the greater Dallas area before EPIC and before Plano and all of that. It was a great eye-opening because hearing them talking about 15 years ago when they were like few hundred families, similar to kind of our community, and where they are today, where mashallah, they have over 1,000 students in their Islamic school, and their masjid, mashallah, has over 1,000 families that is attending the masjid, is just amazing. And we'll share some of the learning in the second slide, but one of the things, the great things that we have seen with them and learned from them is plan your master plan. They had the project all the way back at 7 phases, 15 years ago, about I think 14, 15 years ago, 7 phases. They are only in phase 4 right now, only in phase 4. So what they really do in these larger scale, it's similar to our project, or slightly higher than our project. I think it's 110,000 square feet property. But what they really did is they try to set their master plan and start piece by piece. Because by the time you evolve into your second phase, some new ounces in the community might really evolve. So you might need to tweak it a little bit. At the same time, it allows them to do the right thing. So right now they are in phase 4 where they are doing their waqf. They are building, mashallah, apartment complex and retail stores where they would generate hundreds of thousands of dollars back to the masjid to reduce the burden on fundraising in the community. So mashallah, lots of learning from there. The second one was Mass Islamic Center and preschool. This one was actually a church that they took and they converted it. What's interesting about this one, it's the highest ceiling I have ever seen in an Islamic institution. And the first thing we walk in, all the ceiling tile will pop from the kids playing soccer. So the reason I'm saying that, and you'll see from the key takeaways, most often like really going out of your comfort zone here and seeing other places, it's really an eye-opening that at the end of the day, it's more or less the same challenges we are dealing with, all these masajid and large Islamic institutions dealing with. And learning from them and seeing how they can deal with it, it helps us. They have many great programs that we listened. It wasn't more of the architecture, but it's really more of the programs that they run there. The third row, kind of the two pictures, is the Plano Masjid, which, mashallah, you can see in the picture here that was like the youth having a evening, a youth committee having a meeting. It was a very intense conversation. I walked in and I was like, I knocked the door and I felt like I'm intruding on them, but it was so empowering, mashallah. It was so motivating to see this group of youth really talking, like they were talking, planning what they do in the masjid, how do they engage the food pantry line that or the food banks that they operate in the city. Hundreds of people come to them, mashallah, like amazing, very, very inspiring. So alhamdulillah, that was another great example of their financial savviness. Lots of great learnings there, but one of the simplest things that they started with, they said we were 200-300 families, and they kept growing, and mashallah, they just said, you know what, we're going to save a 10% every month from our donation. And they invested that in the Islamic mutual funds, and it grew until it grew to $1 million. They bought a property, it generated $80,000-$90,000 for them, and they kept saving more money. And converted to a $2 million asset, buy a second property, and mashallah, you see the community is flourishing. So it's really lots of great examples there, and very similar journey and story of what we are going through now. Inshallah. So the fourth one, the two picture there is Brighter Horizon Islamic School, which mashallah, they have close to 1,000 students. Mashallah, it's one of the top Islamic schools. From an architectural and layout perspective, was fascinating to see what they have done and the attention to details. And alhamdulillah, we had actually the architect who was a Muslim architect who designed many of these places. He was able to join us in several of these places, because when you walk the space with the architect who designed it and look at it from his lens and understanding, how you pay attention to every detail. How do you make sure that when you are putting your lockers, it's flush to the wall so the kids are not running, banging it, and they hurt themselves? Every little detail that's thought of. So alhamdulillah, was great learning there. The last two pictures on the bottom, that's the Soto Masjid, that kind of a little bit outside the city. Beautiful architect as well, but some learnings to see from a space perspective as well. So in the second slide, we'll share with you the key takeaway. We'll cover a few of the picture, and we'll jump to the key takeaways of the Texas trip to recap. The top picture there is Valley Ranch, and what was interesting is we went to Valley Ranch on our second day at the end of the day. So we have seen a lot by then. And we all, right, like many of us might be seeing Sheikh Yasser Burgess, Dr. Omar Suleiman, and you hear Valley Ranch, and you walk in and you see all these previous architects and etc. And then you walk into Valley Ranch, and we're like a little bit taken back, like where is the rest of the masjid? So and they are in a phase where they are expanding and building outside. They had their family nights that day, completely outside the masjid. They have no space in the masjid. And alhamdulillah, we got to sit down with the board for about an hour, spoke with them. They shared lots of great learnings, and back again to the idea of have a master plan that think about 20, 30 years and don't just look at your next 1 or 2 or 5 years. They definitely didn't do what the other masajid have done, and now they had to go acquire this land that is very expensive because it's adjacent to them. They have to do a separate building construction, not really attach it to the building. So lots of challenges there, and you can see it on their face as they were telling us, and kind of not too proud of it, but Jazakumullah khair for everything. But you can tell who really had the vision and the full plan from the beginning versus someone who did, alhamdulillah, great masjid, great environment, but the community is expanding way too large, too fast, and they are unable to accommodate. So it was a good learning there as well. The next two pictures are epic, which mashallah was very well architect building as well. Mashallah, musalla, their gym, that is the common theme in many of these masajid is really the how you take one space like the gym or other spaces and you use it for multiple use. So that's one of the things. How do you really kind of look at a space that would be used in different ways and approach? Otherwise, you will just keep running out of space. So that was another great learning there. Then the next two pictures from Epic as well. That's the rest of their Islamic school. They have until grade 8, I think, or no, I think elementary only. So they have only elementary schools. They don't have middle school. So that's some of their classrooms. And then the last two pictures is Roots and Column Institute, which again, very modern, very youth-centric space that really attract a lot of the youth and the young generation, having them come to the masjid. What are they looking for? And how do you bring them in the masjid? They have a cafe inside the masjid, or inside the space, the center, that honestly, it's way cooler than Starbucks or any of your other coffee shop that you go sit outside. So that's some of the space. So the key takeaways that I want to highlight is, one, what I just shared, master plan. That was a big kind of a key takeaway for us. How do we plan for the next 20, 30 years? You will always run out of space sooner than you imagine. So many times we were thinking, oh, maybe we have too big of a space. But in most cases, everybody said that you build and people come. People move for your Islamic school. People move for your masjid, for your programs, and they will continue coming. And the community keep expanding. Alhamdulillah, just today or yesterday, we had an email, somebody asking, like, hey, I'm new to the community, I want to bring my family and learn more and be more engaged with your program. So we are seeing it, alhamdulillah, the community keep growing. 3 is invest in your youth, da'wah, and waqf. Many of these masajid really looked into it from 10, 20 years from now, who will be really taking these masajid to the next level is your youth. So really invest in them. 2 is your da'wah. Really, what's the core reason for us being here in the United States or in the West is really doing da'wah. So how do you really keep that in mind as you're designing or building your space? And finally, your waqf or endowment fund or endowment project. How do you try to build to that, or how do you try to consider that so that you're not constantly asking the community for fundraising and 100% you're relying on fundraising and donation. Next one is learning from other masjid operation, similar challenges to what we are seeing, from cleanliness to ceiling tiles to other things. Funding is always a challenge, but it always gets done. Every single project, even Irving Masjid, that mashallah has a great brother who is mashallah very professional fundraiser. Mashallah, they have a master vision of how to do things, but yet they are still struggling even in their financial for the Waqf project. But they continue pushing through it, alhamdulillah. So it's similar challenge, more or less, but alhamdulillah, it got done at the end. Leveraging experienced Muslim architect is a huge impact. Initially, when we started, we wanted to keep open mind, and we said maybe if as long as an architect have some experience with masajid, etc. But really seeing when you have a Muslim architect who comes to the masjid constantly, very simple example that kind of was an eye-opening for us, or was just a mind-blowing, with the fact that the architect that built many of these masajid, he designed the vent in the shoe area to be making sure it's 24/7 air. So no matter what you shut down the building, this area, vent on top of your shoe rack area, is 24/7. So that the smell and all of that, it's not sitting there in the building. That's where we were like, wow. So subhanAllah, that was a huge we realized that's a huge impact for us. So that was a quick summary of our learnings of the Dallas trip that we wanted to share with you because we felt it's something very important. I wanna see if Brother Dia has anything else to add, so whether from our committee or from the visit from the trip, mashallah, because it's a lots of great insight, Brother Dia.
The food was good in Texas.
Yes. Jazakumullah khair. Now for questions, we wanted to make sure we have plenty of time for questions and answers, inshallah. We'll have everybody just raise your hand, ask the question. We just ask that, hey, if you have a follow-up, wait at the end until everybody asks their questions, or come and see any of the team and we'll get your question answered. But if you start raising your hand, we'll just go in order and we'll have the team answer the question, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
Okay, so I'll help facilitate the question Q&A. So, Brother Bilal, I think you raised your hand.
What's the plan for FEA for the school? Are they looking to expand to 12th grade, other activities within? I haven't heard anything from a school perspective.
Okay, so the question is, what's the plan for FEA? Are they going to go scale up all the way to high school? So, the planning we have done for the whole MCF 2.0 envisions that the school goes all the way till high school, so from KG all the way till the 12th. And inshallah, we have enough space in the new building to accommodate that. And it includes all the way till K-12. That's a quick answer. And Atiq is here. Maybe you can take up that question and give a more detailed answer.
Yeah, needless to say, inshallah, we do plan to expand to high school, but in all honesty, it won't happen in the short run. Talking to schools like Al-Arqam, you have to build up a certain critical mass in your middle school before you can start offering high school. So it won't happen the next year or so, to be honest, but inshallah soon. Yeah, and of course, we have a lot of room to grow within elementary and middle and even preschool for that matter. So we really need the space even in those lower grades before we need for high school.
And just to add on that, from a building perspective, again, some of the learning we had is that you really have your core masjid musalla, you have your typical schools, a classroom, and you have really this big spaces in the middle that basically accommodate. That's a beauty and the huge value in both of them together. Having a space that would be used by the school daytime, where the kids can play inside and outside, indoors and outdoors. And then at night, during Ramadan or during other nights, it's being used by the kids and the youth in the masjid and the community. So part of the planning process that we're working on, what are all the spaces that we can center, and it's important for the school, aside from their typical classroom or chemistry lab or any of these other spaces, and it's important for the kids in the school and also benefit the community in the masjid environment.
Would love to see maybe a little bit long-term plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan of what steps the school's going to take to grow into it. Give us some milestones,
Okay, inshallah. We'll take a note of it and then maybe.
Bilal, you're talking about current plan, because as far as building-wise and space, the answer is yes. There is definitely enough space for high school, if that's your question.
I'm not asking about the building, I'm asking about execution.
Okay.
When do we see 11?
I got to your point, Brother
Got it,
Bilal.
got it.
Inshallah, we'll take that input and show a timeline the way we were showing. Yeah. Yes, Brother Umar.
The question I have is, I guess, for anybody can answer. It seems that you guys still have not had any architect or construction company looked at the buildings, so to determine if there is any showstoppers, meaning there's no wall, load-bearing wall or something that you cannot move and prevents you from doing what you want to achieve or what you want to do with the building, like making a bigger hall. I assume that's one of the reasons we are buying a bigger building. So wouldn't that you do it now before you purchase it?
Okay, so the question is regarding the due diligence, if there is any showstopper with the building. Example is if can we make a big prayer hall, or is there load-bearing building, any structure
that prevents you from
Okay.
making the changes that you want to make.
Yeah. Okay. Brother Ashraf will take that.
Excellent question, and two parts. One, there is all the due diligence period, which is really more critical, pretty much in design construction. If you want to do anything within the building, pretty much you can do it. It boils down to the cost.
Can you repeat the question for everyone?
Oh, the question is from. You repeat the question. Okay. So from a building perspective, you can pretty much do anything, but obviously it comes down to how much you would need it to, right? My company, the building that we have our R&D in, we realize that the amount of HVACs that we'll put on the roof, the structure of the building cannot handle it. So we end up putting steels, etc. So, but to answer your questions specifically, and alhamdulillah, we are, because we want to make sure we get the right architect, while we realize that while we are going through the RFP process, we said that we really want to accelerate the engagement with an architect. So as we speak, literally in this week, what's happening is we engaged with the architect that we get to know from Texas, who's a great architect. And we are in the process, inshallah, to work with him on a contract between now until the November 22nd. So he helped us with all these things, looking into the building, working with the city, helping us understand if any of large hole or any of the things that's important to us, what would be involved with the building, accommodated or not. So very soon, inshallah, the plan is to engage with that architect. But on a short period until we make sure would he be the architect that will continue for the full vision or somebody else. But inshallah, that's what we're doing for the next few days.
It would be part of a due diligence.
Yes, inshallah. Will be part of due diligence.
Going to the city also is part of it.
Yes.
But we are not aware of any showstoppers, right? Rehan?
We have somebody look at it, expert.
Yeah, in terms of showstoppers, in terms of future construction ability, that is why we've engaged the architect during the due diligence period, and he will be giving us an expert opinion on that. And we made sure that we did that in this timeline. We didn't want to wait until after the transaction closes.
What about the old county guy?
Joel County guy?
Yes. One
Alex.
One of the things I haven't heard is what is the budget or estimated cost of reinventing or restructuring the building? We're hearing about the cost of acquiring the building. How much do you think?
Okay, so the question is, I got your question. So the question is, what's the projected cost of tenant improvement, remodeling the building? I think let's Brother Ashraf take it. Okay. Sure.
Great question. So I'm kind of back to our point is that lots of the feedback we get is if you skip your programming phase, really the rest of the project will end up being you're designing the wrong thing, or you're designing a space that will be great for the next 5 years, and then we're back again in crisis mode. So the reason is we're not rushing on getting a construction company and tell them, hey, go in there and just get us a musalla and the masjid. Essentially, we will do everything we can to get a space at least as a musalla so we can move as soon as possible. But part of the engaging with an architect, inshallah, to help him, to have him help us with one, prioritizing all our needs. The survey that we're sending out to the community, we want to make sure that our community who's funding the project currently, what are their priorities, right? And rank these priorities. You take these inputs and put it into at the programming phase where we say, okay, now that we know the priority, here's what's our master plan. And this master plan, the architect would help us break it into phases. Because it's almost impossible that you go and have endless amount of millions of dollars to go fit up a space like that in just 1 year or something. We don't know. We don't know. There is no budget. So there is no budget for tenant improvement. We have not had any conversation. We obviously had a conversation. We have any conversation, even whether the team, etc., that, oh, this is kind of the number. Until we have really the architect help us with what's the plan, and they really understand what are the phases, and that's when we come back to you guys and we say, here is here is the master plan, here is what's most likely would be critical phase one, and here is how much phase one would cost, and here is potentially the entire project would cost if we can get someone that all of a sudden maybe Allah will bless us with one person.
So the question Abid is asking is, do you know the exact amount of tenant improvement before, approximate amount of before you walk into the building? So whatever brother Ashraf said is correct, because we do the programming, we do the planning, and we give to the architect. He tells us this is what will take to build, and then we will know the exact cost, right? But the other way to look at it is like, for example, phase 0, right? Few of us who have looked at the building, right? It has the enough room in there, right, to do a phase 0, right away with minimal cost, right? We can, provided the city give us the use permit, right? We can walk in and it has enough room to start the prayers right away, right? It have enough rooms, small rooms all over the building, right, to even accommodate the school right away. So phase 0 could be much less, but we don't know the exact cost. Yes.
Okay, having people and doing the construction at the same time would slow you down. You will be in each other's way, kind of.
Correct, but if you remember that the way we did it in 391, something similar could be done. Like when we started 391, this property, right? This whole thing was a federal office, right? So we started in a small area, right, between 381, 391, and then we did the construction over there. So it's always possible. There are so many options to do. Yeah. Yes, brother. Saif.
My question is, I saw this on structure plans. I do not see any religious or sheikh input in this project, like construction, wudu area, bathroom, musalla. I do not see any sheikh input. Who is the sheikh you are getting guidance? Religious person. I know physically you have a qualified civil engineer or multiple engineer, but I do not see anybody qualified sheikh getting input from the big project.
Okay, so the question is, who are the religious scholars you are taking the inputs regarding this big MCF 2.0 project?
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair, brother. Like anything related to fiqh issues, as far as the board, we go to Sheikh Maraj, Sheikh Yusuf, and our Imam, Sheikh Zahid. So that's the way, if there is any fiqh issue or fatwa needed, that's how we do it.
But they don't sit in the ongoing meetings?
For?
They don't sit in the ongoing.
For what?
If you're designing and everything, you do not see it's a fiqh issue, but there is fiqh issue. So you have to have somebody sitting in.
Definitely, once we have the design, it's going to be presented to them. Once you have it, 100%. The things that, brother, you need to keep in mind, it's still in the early stages, and we just trying to be careful that we promise what's going to happen or what we're going to do. That's why sometimes you have a general answer. That's the only reason.
So as Brother Ashraf was saying, right, we are in the programming phase, right? But once something matures up, right, for sure we'll take the input from the religious scholars. They will have the input, inshallah. Yes, go ahead.
First of all, Jazakallah khair for everyone. I know that this long nights, so many weekends, you guys are putting so much effort, sacrificing so much family time, work and everything. So really appreciate and acknowledge all the efforts that you guys are putting in. Alhamdulillah, I think that you guys all have to commend the efforts that you guys are putting in. So, and sisters as well. So Jazakallah khair first of all. And my only suggestion was that with the questions that are coming in, it would be nice the way you guys have put together a committee for 2.0. I think that what is the plan after November or once we buy, if you can just project some timeline or some plan together as well, a committee to put together that plan and explain with milestones that this is what it is, because getting a school starting a school right away is not a easy job, right? It cannot be starting musalla having a space. So it takes permissions and everything. Something to put together with milestones should really help the community.
Inshallah. Yeah. So you're talking about the timeline after 22nd.
After 22nd.
Inshallah, we'll take that input. Yeah, let's take some questions on the sister side. Yes. Okay, the question is, what's the update on the permanent sheikh, Brother Rehan?
Yeah. The question was, is there an update on the permanent sheikh? So Sheikh Zayed Fatah, it's a two-stage process. The first stage was that we at MCF, as the employer, we had to petition U.S. Customs and Immigration to be able to basically ask Sheikh Zayed to come from the UK. That was the longer part of the process. We applied for that, I believe, in February. We just received approval from U.S. Customs and Immigration 2 or 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago now. So that was approved. Then what happens after that is a typical visa application process. I spoke to Sheikh Zayed yesterday. He said him and his family have applied for their visas. They are waiting for that. And I also spoke to our attorney that we're using about a week and a half ago now. And he gave us an updated timeline of somewhere between 60 to 80 days. So that's where we are in the process. We are very optimistic, inshallah, that he will be joining us before the end of the year. So make dua, and inshallah, we'll keep giving you updates as soon as we get them. There are periods like this entire approval process where we really didn't know. It was just checking in and not hearing any updates, but alhamdulillah, that did get, that first phase ended just a few weeks ago.
Let's take one more from the sister side, and then we'll come to the brothers. Yes.
I think that he was fighting. He was in a fight, that's why we're getting fights.
Okay, so the question is, the finances which Hafiz was showing, right? Can we take and raise all the way to 10.5, or should we fall back on seller financing? I think let Hafiz answer this.
I can answer later. Yeah, as I said, our goal is, of course, 10.5 million. Can we really achieve it? It all depends on you. Okay, can we really? Our goal is to try our best as much as we can. We are pushing ourselves. We want your families to donate more and more. So that's our goal. But of course, our backup option is always there, seller financing. But that's we have to do it if we cannot get 10.5 million.
Okay, Brother Noor.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, brothers. First of all, Jazakallah khair for this tremendous job that you guys are doing. And it's a lot of effort, especially in this large scale. It's not easy to put together. My simple question is, Brother Ashar has been talking about master plan. And looks like our vision is not for the people we are right now. It's basically vision for the people who are not even born. So what's in the master plan? That's the question. What facilities you are looking into to facilitate the youth, and what capacity of praying hall would be, and plus, you know. Second question is, alhamdulillah, this facility is almost 85,000 square foot. Do you guys have any plan to basically generate some income from this building? Because it's very important. If we have a building that of a capacity, I think we should generate some income so we can do monthly, take care of monthly expenses. And there are some facilities in Sacramento, in some mosques, they generate, like in I think Islam Center has a hall. They generate $800 to $1 million per year. So with this capacity, I would expect that we should at least $500,000 per year.
Okay, inshallah. Good input. It is in the plan to figure out a way if we can generate the income, right? You know the option of MCA, they have like a cafeteria or a coffee shop. That's something which we can do. A banquet hall as MCA does, that also is possible. So inshallah, it's in the plan and we will take that input. Regarding the programming, you want to?
Excellent question, Brother Noor. Jazakallah khair. If you recall what I said, one of the key area that will feed into what we need to do as the number one priority is the survey to the community, because that's the community who is funding the project. So the first priority would be what the collective community will tell us, and that will tell us how much, based on Brother Abid's question, because also we can't go and say, okay, we need X dollar without really understanding what's the community need. Then we go say, this is the priority community told us, and we price it out, and here is the price. So it's just a matter of the right time, taking the right time to make sure we're gathering the right data and giving you guys back the right information, inshallah. Jazakallah.
Yes.
The last question, maybe?
Okay, Brother Atif, and then we can come back.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Do you have a floor plan of the current building handy that you can throw up on the screen so that people all see while you guys are talking?
Yeah, we have the floor plan, but
Current building.
yeah.
Throw it up on the screen so we can all see while you guys are
So you're talking about the 391, 104, the new one. Okay, inshallah.
This one
We'll share it later.
We can share it, inshallah, but we don't have it right now to throw up on the screen.
So the
Yes.
question I have is the following question to Brother Noor. That how are we going to sustain in the future plan? Right now, alhamdulillah, all the families are putting their efforts just to fundraise for the 2.0. Everyone is going Jazakallah khair. Everyone is like losing their night sleeps and everything. But how are we going? Because we will have 3 different tasks. We have to pay back Arja Hasna. And the other thing is we have to pay, if we take the seller financing, we have to pay that off. Plus, we will be having the project management part of the building, running the entire facility itself. How are we sustaining ourselves? Are we planning to do some programs or something that we can sustain in that building? And we might have at least 2.5 to 3 mil just to do the tenant building.
Okay. So we have run complex finance model like for a couple of years, right? And how to do this project, right? So we have to buy the building, we have to maintain, we have a tenant improvement. So all these things have been fed into the finance model, right? And then we know how much money we need to raise every year to accommodate these things. So that's a high level answer I can give you, right? But
Plus, like if we can ask our community, like how the churches ask, like give their 5% or 10%, I'm ready to do that.
okay, so that's a fundraising question, like, and it could be an option. We can take your input, like
we have to come up with a plan that
You 50, how much is it? 50% or what?
he's saying that the churches do a 5% of the salary as a
No, he said
donation to
50.
the
50. He said 50.
He said 50, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's an ongoing challenge.
I have a similar question.
I just want to let you know, like people are waiting. We will take probably last question, but we will be available after prayer. Go ahead, Aman.
If we cannot generate 10.5 million, then what is the plan to finance the balance? Where are we going to go to finance it, or how?
No, we'll go to seller finance and we'll have 2 years to pay them off.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, and we apologize. We are there after the prayer. Okay. And Nadeem, last question. We had.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah for doing all this. I'm a little ashamed that I'm not being part of this, but you guys are doing great. One thing I would like to ask: are you leveraging any work that we have done in gathering all the requirements at the time when we acquired this building? We are.
What he says.
We did a lot of surveys at that time.
Yeah.
We asked our community many times what they would like to have, right?
Yeah. So plus not only that, the community, the challenges are now different. So it's
Who was one? He just
We have the history. Amjad has all the history, and then we are utilizing it, but it's definitely more challenging.
And we'll send it the question.
Yeah. And also we'll send the questionnaire on the requirements and survey as we talk. Jazakallah khair, everything. We should have Sheikh Miraj do the dua, but we'll do after prayer.
Can you switch it off? Can you switch it off?
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
That's the masjid.
Allah.